Hello, welcome to the fifth and final video of the series, How I Healed Through Complex Trauma. If you're now feeling a little bit overwhelmed, you've got all this new awareness, this understanding of how trauma might have affected you and the process of recovery, it might feel like a lot. You might be feeling a little bit stressed and uncertain where to start. In this video, we're going to explore why we use life design and the next steps that you can take now to begin that journey and help you feel a little bit more in control, a little bit more certain, and gain a little bit more clarity on what you can do to make changes and help on your road to recovery. Life design is a process of starting to take control of our life, literally design our life. We do this because it just helps us to organize our mind. It helps us to organize our process, our time, get really practical about how we can actually make these changes and where we might want to start, and start to pay attention, gather data and see what actually helps, what's affected when you make a change, where do you need to look next. It's kind of a way to start making a plan and a strategy and having more of an overview and direction for your recovery journey. My name is Terry Shield. Hopefully you already know that. I'm host here at Love School. I'm host here on the YouTube channel and over at Love School. And life design is one of the foundations that we teach and share through all the content. This is how we make more sense of what we're going to do, make those practical changes. And these are changes, holistic changes that can affect our lives. So we're looking at our body, our mind, our energy systems, and also our relationships and our external environments. And that can be a lot with that ecosystem mindset. It can feel like, oh my God, that's a lot of change. It can be a bit uncertain. But actually, the more that we can just pay attention, make notes, get all that worry out of our head and on a bit of paper. So if we want to, we can refer back, and you can do this as big or small as you want. Just make notes, write lists. You might want to make a table to log things. You might want to have a diary. You might want to make a document. I had this really big document at one point of life design that was kind of like my manual for recovery, what I was going to do. And then that got adjusted as I knew what helped. And then eventually it becomes like second nature, because we've been gathering evidence. So one of the early stages of life design is just gathering evidence. It's trying things, following your intuition of what makes sense, what resonated the most about some of the things maybe that I've mentioned or someone else has mentioned that you think, right, I want to try this. Try it, pay attention. Does it help? And how does it help? What does it help with? So, for example, it might be something simple that you choose to do, like go out for a walk in nature every day. What does that help? Pay attention for a while. And then just after, you can pay attention. You don't have to make notes every day, but you just pay attention as you do it over a period of time. Like for me, I learned going out for a walk in nature every day. It helps me ground. It's good exercise. It helps clear my mind. It gives me an opportunity to process anything that might be going on. I have a dog, so it also helps me bond with my dog, and it gets me out in the world. I can meet and chat to people, so I'm, not isolated. If you spend a lot of time alone, there might be lots of needs and lots of benefits from making even a small change. So, for example, for paying attention of doing that, I now know to go for a walk. I go for 2 walks a day actually, because I've got a dog. But that has been a massive beneficial, very simple, very easy, natural change that I've made in my life that I'll hopefully always be able to have and do, that is going to help keep me well in many ways. There might be a process in life design where we're not sure what's going to help. So that's why you do experiments, and that's why you pay attention. Often I find it's probably not best to do too much at once, because then you don't know what helps. So you can make changes, like a small change, and log it for a little while, notice the difference, and then add another change. If it doesn't make a difference, you might want to stop doing that thing and try something else. Some things can have a cumulative effect. Like, for example, part of my life design, the early stages, was looking at my nutrition and food, which is a massive thing. And I needed additional supplements. So paying attention to what happens in your body when you take a supplement. I didn't take all the supplements at once because then I wouldn't know what's helping. You take one supplement and notice what difference it makes. So for example, I know what, if I take a vitamin D supplement, I know what changes that gives to my body. So because I'm now more body aware, I know if I have certain symptoms or something happens and I haven't been taking that supplement, I'll take that supplement and it's going to rebalance. I might not take the supplement all the time because I might not need it. I get my vitamin D from the sun. In the summer, I might not need as much, but in the winter, I might need more because I notice the difference between when I take it and when I don't take it. And the life design process is this opportunity to gather data and notice the differences and then choose what to keep and choose what to let go. And most importantly, because you've got all this evidence, because you've got all this comparative data, you're like the scientist of your own life. You know what to take and when and why and how. Not just take, do, adjust into your lifestyle. And this can be in every area of your life. So this can be for your body. It can be the things you do for your mind health. It can be the things to do to keep your spirits up, your energy well. It can be the things you do to regulate your emotions. It can be the environments you go to. Which environments are helpful for you, which help uplift you, which help calm you, which environments are not, which environments stress you out. And then you would choose to avoid certain environments and spend more time in others. Same with people. You might start to notice certain relationships really drain you and others uplift you, and some are really supportive. So then you know what relationship to keep, which ones might potentially want to change, try and address, let go. We just start to understand what's beneficial for us and what's helpful. And when we're dealing with complex trauma recovery, like we said at the very beginning, the very early videos, there can be a lot of complex, interconnected responses that we're dealing with. So when we break it down this way, when we have records, when we are being a little bit more structured and paying a bit closer attention, it can take away that extra stress of not knowing, confusion, overwhelm. It just mitigates all of those extra uncertainties that for someone with complex trauma, who's maybe it's already a bit uncertain in life, extra uncertainty, we want to minimize it as much as possible. We want to create some sort of control, some sort of certainty. And this life design process is the best way I have found to do that. We want to start this process really straight as soon as possible, because if we don't, those fears, that powerlessness, that hopelessness can set in again. We might have all this motivation from like watching new content or getting a new insight or being directed to something that might be help. And then we start to overthink it and we can get stuck and not end up doing it. And then we stay trapped and stuck in our patterns, in our cycles, in the trauma symptoms. So the sooner we can start to just take a step, just make a note, try an experiment, the sooner we can do that, the sooner we can start the recovery journey. And we might need different things at different times in recovery. Things might come back around. And the more that we know what helps, the easier it is to deal with things when they come back around. The more we know what we need in certain conditions, the more we know what we need to calm. When we get stressed, we know what we're doing. The more we know how to uplift ourselves and we're starting to feel down, we know what we're doing. It just makes the natural ups and downs of recovery easier to navigate. And each time we gain more and more stability, we gain more and more wellness. I have a really simple life design tool that I'm going to share with you, because a step you can take right now is just to make one plan. Just one thing that you intuitively feel like you want to try. And one of the tools I've developed is called the 3-stage shift. I think I actually named it something else, and then I always refer to it as the 3-stage shift. But either way, it's a formula of 3 different states of what we might need depending on how we're feeling. Okay. So, for example, if we're feeling really overwhelmed, we might want to calm down. If we're feeling really stuck, we might want to change something up. This is just a really simple formula, a life design formula you can use to consider where you are now, what you might want to change, and then you can intuitively choose something that would align with that type of action. I'm going to link this below in the description. Make sure you grab that, give it a try today. After this video, download that. Just try it with one thing going on in your life. Just one thing. Just pick one thing. One area of your life. Maybe you feeling a little bit stressed today. Maybe you're feeling a bit stuck today. Maybe you're feeling a bit tired today or disconnected from your body today. Use this tool and you identify that state and you consider what type of action you might want to take to change it, and then choose an action and just try it and notice the difference. Does it help? Did it not help? And make a note of that. I was feeling tired. I tried taking a nap and I felt great after a 15-minute nap. Yay, you just did it. And then every single time you feel a bit tired through the day, you know that a 15-minute nap might just help to shift you out of that tiredness. You have just started a life design process. Now, life design process is always adapting and changing because as we are healing, as we're recovering, we are going through a process. We're always changing and transitioning. So initially, we use the life design for recovery. We use that to plan this experimental phase of what helps. Then we do a life design for the healing process once we know more of what helps, how are we going to maintain and keep those things up while we go through the healing process, while we're doing deeper work, while we are allowing them wounds to mend. There'll be that phase. And then we have the life design phase of once we're coming out of the healing, what's our life like now? What is our life like without all the trauma, without all the coping mechanisms, without all the symptoms? How are we going to adjust our life when we're not running on constant trauma and stress fumes? So the life design process evolves and changes as we do. It's an ongoing, like I say, it can be document, journey, process, however it is that you choose to do it. As we go through that, our identity is shifting, who we are is shifting and changing. The person who did the very first life design is not going to be the person that does your final life design because you're growing and evolving as you're doing it. So the life design is going to change, and also how you do the life design is going to change. The life design process, the recovery process will have altered your life. Like I say, you've made all these decisions through this process of observation and the healing, the shadow work, and the body reconnection. You now know which environments you're going to go in and which ones you're not, the types of relationships you want and the types of relationships you don't. When we're noticing the difference as we're going through the process, the life design, the final phase of it is going to be holding that, living within that data, living within the evidence that we have gathered, that we know that works for us, that you know what works for you, for your health and well-being. And that is the person, the lifestyle, the new perspective that you've gained through the recovery journey to find your authentic self through it all. It's a constant process of reflection, paying attention to what's going on in your body. This is why the body connection is so important, because we're getting all these signals all the time. The more we do this, the more we're regulating our nervous system, we're staying in a state of peace and calm, which are much more stable foundation and much less chaotic managing of symptoms lifestyle. So it's a constant process of reflecting on what is different, what's changing, what's happening for you, and redirecting yourself towards better, towards better, towards better, towards what works, towards what works. You might have to at different times explore new things again, but always just learning that alignment of what works for you and prolonging as much as possible that phase of being in alignment. Now, life's still going to happen. Things can throw us off course. But again, as part of the life design, you've now got these tools. So you know what happens when life happens, when something stressful occurs or something new comes around. You actually know what helps to regulate you. You know what helps for your health and well-being. You know what you might have to tap into or what you might have to drop off. And having evidence of all that, especially in high stress situations, something you can refer back to. Again, it just eases any of that uncertainty, the worry, any overwhelm that might arise. Sometimes this process can seem daunting to do it alone. And a lot of what I talk about at Love School is doing this for ourselves. It's like a process of self-actualization, of taking back our power and taking control of our lives and our recovery process, even though that process might be ongoing. It might feel out of control at times. When we keep showing up for ourselves like this, when we commit to a process like that for ourselves, following our own intuition, it's constantly building up our self-confidence. It's building up our trust in ourselves that we can do this and that we can navigate life as it happens. If you found this series really helpful and you're thinking, okay, I'm ready, I want to start looking at trauma recovery, I've got an understanding of what might help, what do I do next? We have a dedicated course that I've designed for complex trauma recovery at Love School. We have other courses that might be supportive in different circumstances, and I will link them up. But if you're specifically here because of complex trauma, this course is designed to help you deep dive into what I've explained here. So we work through reconnection with the body. We work through shadow work and healing the core wounds. We work through a life design process. And so you're doing this yourself based on the course contents, based on the guidance provided in the course. But as well as that, there's also a supportive community space. So the other people who are also doing this course, there is an online space there where people can share their insights, share their perspectives, just have that sense of solidarity that even though you might be going through this unique process yourself on your own recovery, other people are too, and we can support each other through that. Now, it's very different from like a Facebook group or something, because this is not a space where we're offering advice or people are, trauma dumping, which can be very triggering. Instead, it's talking about the content, it's talking about the recovery, it's talking about the wellness journey that they're on and what they found that's helpful, or even asking questions and directly relating to how to make the most of this process for their healing journey. And on top of that, as part of the course, there's also regular group sessions. So we have a group call where if you need any one-to-one attention, if there's anything you want to share with the group, because that can be really helpful. If you want to get a little bit more personalized support, every couple of weeks, you can hop onto a call with other people, and I or we will put some focused attention on what you're going through and or help you gain insight or support you on your journey. So I would love to have you there, because it's really important to me that you find your recovery, and the more of us that heal from trauma, the less trauma there is going on in the world, I think. So I will link that. Thank you so much for watching this series. Please make sure that you subscribe to the channel for future things that come up, like this video, because it helps more people see it. Let me know in the comments what you found most helpful. I love your feedback. Let me know if you think there's more things that you would like to understand. Any other series suggestions, let me know all that in the comments. Thank you so much for being here. Wishing you well on your healing and recovery journey. Complex trauma, it's not straightforward. It's not an easy path, and you're a survivor. You are a brave, courageous survivor that has lived through challenging circumstances and are dealing with them the best you can. And it's my wish for you and all of us here that we can learn how to thrive despite those circumstances. Maybe it's even because of them. We can completely transmute and transform all that negative, horrible stuff into something that makes our life better, our health better, our well-being well-being better, let go of all that old conditioning that got us into all this horrible trauma mindset, and create a brand new future. And I think that not only benefits us all as individuals, but as a collective, and just, maybe it makes life a little bit easier and better for as many of us as possible. So I really appreciate you being here. Thank you very much for watching the series, and look out for us on YouTube for more helpful series. And I hope to see you over at Love School. Bye.